NBA is almost back, guys. But should it be? It's your boy Dro. Hear Me Out podcast, Hear Me Out Entertainment. I don't know who's on what side, but I got BT on one side, and I got my boy Franco on the other side.
What's going on?
Yes, sir.
So we are just going to jump straight into it. The NBA season is potentially around the corner. The situation is who is going to go and who is not going to go. The NBA has given players the option to go down and play in Orlando with no potential suspensions or any ramifications outside of no payment for the rest of that part of their contracted season. A lot of players are citing that returning to play now would be too soon and inappropriate towards the Black Lives Matter movement, all the protests, the current issues that we have today. People are out every single day in all these cities nationwide, globally actually. We got big protests in Europe and Asia, everywhere. And some players, big names like Kyrie Irving, Dwight Howard, Steven Jackson, they've all come out and said how much they oppose the idea of the NBA returning, as it would be a distraction to Black Lives Matter. So who wants to start? What direction should I throw this alley-oop at?
Everything, or the overall.
So tell me, what do you feel about players wanting to come back and play right now? Do you think that this is going to be a distraction, or do you think there's a way that they can implement it into the game while having the games going on? Have the NBA return and still implementing a lot of Black Lives Matter in the NBA?
So first and foremost, yes and no, it's a distraction because, yes, it's gonna divest all the attention away from what's going on because we haven't had basketball since March. So people are gonna want to be hyper focused on that. They're gonna want to watch it, stay in. It's supposed to be all day basketball, so naturally people are gonna want to watch that. But no, because ESPN, ABC, whoever's going to broadcast these games, announcers are going to be talking about what's been going on in the world. They always have the in-game interviews where people are talking about something going on with their lives. That's an opportunity for a player to talk about his protests, his feelings about what's going on. I don't think it's going to be a distraction, but I think that if done right, if broadcasted right, players can keep the attention on what's going on if they're given that proper platform.
Yeah, so we have a direct quote here from Dwight Howard. I think it was Carmelo Anthony was the first one to come out and say he wasn't sure if he was going to come, citing mostly family issues and mentioning Black Lives Matter somewhere within that quote. But really the players that got the main attention to NBA and Black Lives Matter were Kyrie Irving and Dwight Howard. Kyrie Irving saying he's willing to give it all up, but we'll get to that later. We got a direct quotation from Dwight Howard, right? I want people to understand that I want to win a championship so bad, Going to LA for me has been the very best thing, and I'm very appreciative of being on the team, playing with LeBron, playing with AD, but I just feel like our people need our attention. And I really feel like our world is hurting right now. There's just so much stuff going on, and we don't need anything to get distracted with right now. So do you look at this as a distraction, Franco? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we were mentioning before the show started that someone was mentioning how they could have the patch that says Black Lives Matter, but I don't know how that would work out. Maybe it would be a good thing. It's still people will still be reminded about, what's going on out there with the protests and George Floyd. Although I've been out there in DC, I've gone to local high school protests. There's not as many people there as there were 2 weeks ago when this all started. There's also been the murder of another person. It was Rayshon Brooks, right? Is that his name? Rest in peace to him. He was unarmed and he got shot by the police just a couple days ago. And I'm not seeing as many people out there as there were when George Floyd got murdered. So it is concerning, and it's great that these basketball players are bringing it up, that people are gonna slowly forget about it. And we've seen this throughout history with the anti-war movement in the 1970s. It had so much momentum there, and all of a sudden it died down, and then we kept going into all these wars decade after decade. In the 80s and the 90s, now we're in what, like 8 wars right now. The same thing with the Black Lives Matter protests after Trayvon Martin died. You know, that died down a little bit. And it's because we have all these social, cultural things happening around us. Good thing with the coronavirus, people are more focused since there's less to do. There's less things happening on social media for things to distract us. So I think that, how long is it going to be? Is it going to be like 4 weeks, 6 weeks? How long will the season last?
So the season is going to go from July 30th until the end of until mid-October. So you got August, you got September, and you've got a little bit of October. So just about 10 weeks of play.
Do you think it's worth it, or do you think that we should just wait and have this time to focus? Because there's so many problems happening right now, not just the George Floyd protests, but we also have a public health crisis. We have an economic crisis. People are losing their jobs. We have the biggest unemployment that we've ever seen in history, way more than the Great Depression. So we need to get the policy changes that we need in order to benefit our lives, and we're not getting that right now.
Yeah.
So it's important for us to not forget about that stuff.
Yeah, I wanted to throw that in there. 2 things here. First thing I wanted to say is, as far as looking for a solution, one thing that I've heard you and others say, we need to go and vote for people in the local area. We need to learn who has our best interest in the local area. That's where it starts. So we can start, and we implement change in our own area when we vote in the people that are going to do good things locally, and then that'll spread out on a national scale. Hopefully, that's in a perfect world, and that's what we would think would happen if we try to vote locally. That's one of the best options we have. But as far as the NBA season returning, one thing that I feel people don't think about when they think about the NBA season returning is it really only benefits a handful of guys. You got COVID, like you said, you got the protests, and you have the reason the protests are going on still happening too. You got racist people outside shooting, cops or not cops, and they're not thinking about the livelihood of some of these guys and the way that they're forgetting that they're humans, and they're only looking at them from the entertainment standpoint, from the fantasy standpoint, from how much money it can generate them. You know, we understand that a lot of jobs are also at the line too, but these teams have more than enough money to take care of all the employees of each, like arena employee, team employee. They can take care of them for the rest of the season, but not only are they not going to do that, they're going to force these guys to come back. I don't agree with that, especially considering the fact that most of the stars in the NBA, if not damn near all of them, are African Americans, and right now they're protesting, which is like the climax of the police brutality right now, and it's really inappropriate. The timing, it seems much more like a money thing.
You know what I just thought about?
It bode well.
You remember when the Colin Kaepernick protest started happening, and then there's a lot of white people and a lot of people who don't understand the minority struggle were saying, shut up and just play the game, especially the owners, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of these white people, if we continue with the NBA, the news of the George Floyd protests are right now in the forefront. They're going to now just pay attention to the games. Even if they have like the Black Lives Matter patches like we were talking about earlier, they're still going to be getting the games that they want. They're still going to be getting the entertainment that they want. It won't affect as many people that if they were to just not play at all. Like the minorities will be supportive of seeing the patches. That will motivate them. But for the people who don't understand the problems happening in our country, they're just going to they're just going to keep watching the game. They're going to turn their minds off of what's happening out there. So the best way to create awareness is to create discomfort. So can you guys imagine if like college players they just decided to not play at all. Like they refused to play. They all came together, decided to not play. How many white people do you think would like be like, you know what, just defund the police, give them what they want, give them all these policy changes. I just want to watch the games. I just want to watch these college games. I want to watch my NBA.
And you know what? That's like you said. I don't know. My bad, Brooks. I'm gonna let you go on this, but Ben Shapiro. He's the guy that hates the discomfort of the fact that politics are involved.
And that's the whole point of a protest.
So that's what, like, if you got guys like Ben Shapiro tuning out, that means you're doing a good thing, and you got to continue doing that. But go ahead, Brooks. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, just like what you mentioned just now with Ben Shapiro, which I spoke about on Twitter a little bit too. Yeah, if you don't want politics in sports, then take out the anthem, take out the flag, take out any level of patriotism, because that's politics. But
good point.
As far as what I wanted to bring up, you bring up, college athletes not wanting to play games or protesting games. That happened with the University of Missouri just a couple years ago with trying to enforce administrative changes. Eventually, they were able to get that done when the football team threatened to not play a game, because if you don't do that, that's 6 figures gone for the athletic department in the school, and that affects, football and basketball are the main revenue sports for college sports. So you lose that. That's a huge chunk of scholarship money, of just schools getting money in general. So I agree with that idea of college athletes deciding, I'm not going to play in this game if something doesn't change. And for NBA players who don't want to play this game right now, who are sensitive to the matter, along with not playing the game, you might as well make demands of what you want to see change. Just sitting out isn't enough. You have to make sure that people understand what
we want to defund the police. We want more money allocated to community service programs and to education and to demilitarizing the police, and so that we can have better social programs for communities, better job opportunities for them. And right now they're not getting them. They're not getting that.
Or should be funded $6 billion annually. It's just unnecessary.
Exactly. Yeah, they had LAPD gets 54% of LA's budget. That's
just unnecessary.
Yeah, I understand the sense of security that you want to have, but you can get that with social workers getting money, with educators getting more money. Like, those are the people that help, educators in general. They're the ones who help mold the minds of the next generation's leaders, and we need more money going to them. Teachers shouldn't be having to make extra money being a waiter or whatever it is, just to buy some chalk or just to buy extra notebooks or whatever it may be. Like, that's ridiculous.
See, now one thing I do want to say though, racism will not be solved. During this time period, racism will certainly not be solved. But the thing that you got to do is you got to hit them where it hurts to make them get something going where it can be equal. Not everyone has to like it, but it has to be fair. You can't continue to oppress black people and have things in place like this to set them up for failure as often as they have. So as far as, the left, or no, not the left, like the super like conservative, like the people that would feel uncomfortable with a lot of the things that most people are asking for, like defunding the police, stopping sports and stuff like that. They may not like it, but damn it, they need to feel uncomfortable. Like you guys are saying, discomfort is very important for something like this. You're past the point of understanding. Now you just gotta hit them where it hurts. College players, they should be sitting out, and we got to hold these guys accountable. Clemson is the powerhouse football school in college right now. And Dabo Swinney, the head coach, is wearing all football matters shirt, just not taking it serious at all. So I recommend, if I were a player and I see my coach like that, and there's other, I think it was Iowa State University basketball, coaches are being exposed by their players, and what's going to end up happening is these players aren't going to play for them. The college is going to lose money. The coach is going to get fired, and it's going to start causing discomfort. Not everyone's going to like it, but it's got to be changed. It can't continue to be like this as it's been for so many years and generations just passing it down, on and on. I believe that these times, right now, we need no sports, like you're saying, because people are going to think way more about the athlete and what they're doing as opposed to the patch on their jersey. It becomes a small footnote, and it really just becomes, at this point, the NBA is just accessorizing and profiting off of BLM more than they are spreading awareness from it, in my opinion.
You give up all leverage when you just continue business as usual. You know, you're not raising people's awareness. Like these basketball fans, they're just gonna, like I said, they're still getting the entertainment that they want. You have to take away something from them in order to get their attention. And you guys understand that because you guys are great. You guys are sports fans. You guys see the systemic problem. You guys see that what's more important is getting social justice and getting better programs that benefit the people than your entertainment, right?
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, guys like, and it's tough to say this because in this quarantine, in this stoppage of play, LeBron has the most to lose from it. So it's understandable that he's the game's biggest star. He wants to get back out there and playing. But if you're LeBron James, you gotta use this time to send the most powerful message. LeBron is the NBA. If this man stands up and says, you know what, and he's been very vocal on Black Lives Matter, very vocal. If he stands up and says, Adam Silver, we are not playing. We need this time to heal as a community. The season won't start. What LeBron says goes. That's why I want every basketball fan to understand. So I'm not putting it on his shoulders, but that man got a big responsibility, and he has a chance to send a message that I doubt he's going to, not because he doesn't want to, but more because he's thinking about what he has to lose from a legacy standpoint. But it's a crazy time, man.
And fans listen to him, right? Fans listen to LeBron.
To put on in too, though, I get what you're saying. You know, LeBron may be wanting to play for selfish reasons, but this is still a man who's done so much.
Yeah, you can't blame him. His legacy is one of the biggest, most polarizing things in the sport ever. So I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying if LeBron James really wants to send a huge message, he'll say, all these guys that are counting on us to come back, we are going to stop because the show needs to stop right now. Right now, we don't need continuation. I agree with Franco on that. The BLM patch is like the cops taking a knee. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But I gotta...
Being a freaking celebrity, if you do the right thing, they'll get you. Or you try to do the right thing, or you do the wrong thing, you're trapped every which way you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what happened with Muhammad Ali, with Colin Kaepernick. You know, history is gonna favor those guys regardless.
Kaepernick gave up.
Say it again?
Kaepernick he didn't give up everything, but he was stripped of everything.
Exactly, yeah. And I certainly agree with what you guys are saying. I do think that all the focus needs to be on what's going on, but I feel like, there's ways to implement what is going on right now too within the game. I'm saying this because, of course, I want the games to happen, but I also understand that what's going on right now is way, way more important. But I think there's a way to keep the awareness going on if the games were to go on. They have until July or June 24th to make a decision as far as who wants to play and who doesn't want to play. It's 22 teams right now. It's gonna be 16, 12, 8, 4, whatever it is. Like as the season goes on, man, you're gonna be able to get more voices coming up. And as much as it is on NBA players and athletes to use their voices and their platforms, us as normal citizens, us three people in our communities, we have to continue the good fight and make sure that our voices are heard, regardless of who is a part of it. Like, this is supposed to be something that's for the long haul. We can't count on anybody else to amplify our voices except for us.
That's a good point. If the NBA does continue, then it's up to people like us to remind those that got distracted or forgot about what's happening out there, to remind them again. This is still a problem. We have not gotten the things that we were asking for after George Floyd passed away and when we started protesting. We have not gotten it. So we can't stop until we get those things. And it doesn't matter if Donald Trump gets removed from office, because guess what? Joe Biden was also a racist. And he's the guy who wrote the 1994 crime bill. So that will be a victory. You're just replacing one racist white man with another racist white man. It's just that the other racist white man is better at hiding his racism. So don't forget, we can't stop until we get the things that we're asking for.
Yeah, man. So I guess we could wrap it up at that, man. A lot of the players, it's looking like, I think they did a poll, 40% of NBA players are unsure if they would like to return to Orlando. What do you guys think? Drop a comment down below, guys. Let us know. Do you guys think that the NBA season should just finish as is? Leave it where it's at, pick back up next season? Or should they do it and implement Black Lives Matter memorials for people, or should they implement these during the season? Let us know what you guys think. My final thoughts on this is I'm reiterating what I've been saying the whole time. They should not come back. They're only going to lose money that they can make up in the first quarter of the next season. It's a money thing. It does not bode entirely well. We understand people got jobs, people got their livelihoods and stuff like that, but this health crisis is a unique situation, and it doesn't happen all the time. But the protests are for something that's been happening for far too long. That is not a unique situation. That is something that's been in place for a long time. And right now, we are fighting the good fight, like Brooks said, by being at these protests. Everybody that's been supporting this stuff and starting the NBA season right now will take traction away from the good fight that people are putting out there. It's going to take the shine off of them and onto the NBA season. Sports Center, all the sports outlets that have been talking about Black Lives Matter will no longer do that, as they'll be talking more about the players shouldn't come back, in my opinion.
Bruno, what's your final thoughts?
Just, what Pedro said, let's not take the focus away from the protests. The NBA can wait, just like everything else that's our entertainment. We lived during a time when we didn't have entertainment. So let's focus right now on what's more important, because it's your survival, it's your well-being. And like white people out there, if you're poor or if you're middle class, this stuff will eventually affect you too, because the people who control the police are the same people that are making you poorer and poorer and are only out for their own best interest. They're only interested in making more profit for their corporation, for their corporations. And the politicians are just going to do what these people who give them the most money tell them to do. Because it's not you, the people. They get most of their money from these corporations.
Yeah, and just for my final thoughts is I 110% support what Kyrie, Steven Jackson, Dwight Howard, Avery Bradley, the rest of the 40 or 80 players, however many it is, that they don't want to distract with what's going on. It's a slippery road right now, man, because you want workers to get their money. You don't want to tear up the CBA, because if you do, that could lead to another potential lockout. It's a lot to think about. I'm of the mind that if you do end the season, you gotta make sure that these demands are met. You gotta make sure that you keep the pressure. If you decide not to play, tell the world, I want the police to be defunded. I want more money to go to social work, to education, to infrastructure, whatever it may be. I want more jobs in the U.S. I want wars to end, whatever it is. No matter if there's an NBA season or not, your platform is huge. So use your platform and use your voice.
And one last thing, because I love what you both just said. I love what both you guys just said. But what you just said, Brooks, about the CBA, it could literally cause a whole nother stop and play if they don't get this thing right. So it is a very tricky situation. And one last thing I wanted to throw in there. If you get the players to go back and play and you send them to Orlando, you are taking them off the streets of their hometowns if they are out there protesting. and that they're out there supporting on foot. People are seeing their leaders in person. You'll be taking them off the streets. You will be taking several leaders with huge platforms off the streets. Again, counterproductive. But y'all let us know what you think in the comments. Subscribe if you like the content. Sports, pop culture, progressive politics, crazy, crazy times. And we got more coming for you in the next one. Stay tuned. Bye.
Bye.
My guy. Oh yeah. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell, and share this video for the latest on sports, progressive politics, and pop culture. Slap.